Okay.
Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above the door, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Start to believe in myself and life will be sweet again, so sweet again. Above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go, let it go. And I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again.
Feel that blip? Did everything stop? Did it stop? Or can you even hear me? Who knows? I have no idea. But there was all of a sudden everything just stopped. And there was ooh. And I was like, that's what has happened. I wasn't sure if it was the computer because I got my headphones on. I wasn't sure the entire world. Is that the entire world? Or is it just the song? And the reason why that's profound is because I associated that hard into the music. Wait a minute. I was going to do an entrance. I forgot. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh, James is here. James is here. He's not looking at his keys and he's playing in C major or possibly A minor if you really look at it in the right context. This is a little bit easier when you're seeing. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Sorry I meant clip there. This is not a show. It's dressed like a show. It doesn't have the numeric difference. The declaration of the numbers. Have you guys ever realized that the numbers are a declaration of taking things seriously? Did you know that that's how it worked? I don't like the shadow of this, but my regular camera is attached downstairs. See, now when I talk to the mic, there's this shadow. And I can't think of an easy way to fix it. But my regular camera is downstairs, hooked up to a rig. And that rig, if I was to move that camera, it would just destroy several days of shooting. It wouldn't destroy, but it would stop. Lots going on here around James True. The Adventures of James True. So many things happening. And I found it important to first make sure I'm not muted. Let me make sure I'm not muted. Nobody seems to be complaining about the muting. Good. So, okay, good. And it did glitch. Good. All right. So yeah. Guys, I've been kicking it. I've been kicking it old school. I've been kicking it new school. I've been kicking it I've even kicked it every which way but loose. Some of you might say, James, did you go so far as to kick it any which way you can? And no, nay, I say I did not, Philo Beto. That every which way but loose is enough for you and me, my friends. That is enough. We will stop it right there. Now, BJ and the Bear, full tilt, go. Boogie on. Let's do it, right? But any which way you can. Why are you doing that? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? It's just the right amount of mustard. This memory card is broken, and I'm holding it for energetic reasons. Appear to fidget with it when I stick it in. Waka waka waka. When I stick it in the slot, it says, "Hey man, there's no data on this card," and so I got that going on. Doing a lot of filming around the old lab here. A lot of printing, a lot of filming, a lot of noise, a lot of beeping is going on. A lot of fans are going. A lot of UPCs, backup devices, are going. A lot of little blips are going around. It's like photons. It's like, here's what they sound like. Right? And on top of that, you got birds. You got some bees. You have... I accidentally had my table camera recorder on all night. And I recorded myself in the shop without knowing that I was recording myself. And I got to tell you, I made a lot of subsidiary subordinate noises. One of you might say that one of these noises is the word literally, right? That you think that that's a word, and maybe that's your fault, not mine. That really the entire time the word literally is just a sound that I make that happens to have a quality to it that sounds like a word that you know in the English dictionary. There's a word for this. It's not onomatopoeia, although that's a great fucking word. It's dictosocious. When a word is dictosocious, it is a physical grunt exhumed from the body that happens to sound like a word. And it's injected sort of like a Tourette syndrome into speech. And most of your friends do it all the time. You just think that they actually mean that word. And we are getting to know each other. We're getting to know this about ourselves, right? Right? And Wild Oman inserts the hacacity again. He's got to get that in there. But yes, dictocious, dictosocious is our new word today. That's our new word. Oh, I think I have to do that. Oh, that might make a lot of noise. Yeah, dictosocious, ladies and gentlemen. Dictosocious. So now that you understand this about yourself, you can go out into the world and encounter other people and say, oh my God, this whole time you've been using that word and it's just a grunt. It's just a It's just some sound that comes out, right? We will clear our throats before we speak. You and I think we're clearing our throat, but see, this is the opposite. The opposite of dictosocius is adictosocius, which is when you think that someone is actually giving a. Let me make sure I'm not crossing my lines here. Adictosocius means that you think that someone is just clearing their throat or coughing, right? When in fact they're saying something dramatically deep about their energy, right? They're being adictosocious, right? So the next time that you are ordering pie at the restaurant and your friend, when the waitress comes over, she goes, "Yeah, what'll it be?" The person, your friend, says, "I'd like bloomin' onion, please." And that the proper response at that time would be, "How adictosocious of you." And then you would look at the waitress and say, "I would like the fried mozzarella sticks, please." Right? And then she looks at you because she knows that you know, and you know that she knows. And both of you, you're exchanging memory cards in the dark. And neither one of them worked. Why? Because it's just a. Do you know how stupid technology is? I'm going to show you how stupid technology is. Here we go, Mr. Technology. Going around inventing this, right? This is, wait a minute. Come on. You can do it. Good. Autofocus, yeah. Look at that autofocus. Look at that. So we go and invent this. I have to be quiet or else the autofocus will hear us. And then it'll come back to my face, so I have to whisper so the autofocus doesn't get confused. See that? We don't want to wake up the autofocus. But yeah, so we invent this little guy, right? We're like, we need the tiniest memory card that technology can find. And a bunch of Chinese people, a bunch of Chinese people were like, we will solve this for you. We will make it smaller. We will find a way. And they work their hardest. They slave, right? They secretly stuff their kids in suitcases and hide them because that's what the propaganda tells you. They do all these things at Foxconn, which is probably legitly true too. And all those things, they shrink all this stuff. And what does America do? America goes, I like this SD card right here. This SD card I'm trying to get focused on, but I'm talking too loud, so the focus isn't going to work. But this SD card right here is too big. I need you to make this this piece of plastic, and I want you to put on the piece of plastic a little tiny little hole. And then I want you to take this little thing that you worked so hard to make so tiny, and I want you to stick it in this hole just like that. Oh. See, we can't see it because America's got diabetes. But you're going to stick it in that hole like that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, it's backwards. Of course it's backwards. Oh, my God. There we go. Now it's in there. Okay. And now I'm going to stick this in the camera. But don't you stop there, little Chinese people. We want you to keep making these smaller. This is not small enough. But once you get it, we want to make sure you put it in there. We want to make sure. Some of you have been wondering where I get my content. And I'm working on that answer for you. And which brings me to the purpose of today's show. The purpose is I'm really glad that I'm alive, and I'm glad that you guys are alive. And I love the opportunity to sort of host a running chat room where people can say hi to each other. And so there's that. There's like legit that is part of my goal. And a lot of my calories go into the numbered shows, or many of the shows, and those calories are just not here. And there's been some complaints in the comments. People have laid some complaints down about how the show's really gone downhill. And this was right after I said, hey guys, the show's going to go downhill for a while because all the calories that you never maybe didn't count. And why would you? I'm not here to show off how many calories I burn, but that all those calories that you may not have known, those actually are missing sometimes. And when they're missing, which is not today, I spent a lot of psychological research. You do understand how absurd this is, right? Like, you do get that. Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah, it needs to be smaller. It needs to hold more stuff. And now that it holds more stuff, we need you to systemically take every picture that we store and quadrophonically multiply it by 20 in size, which therefore will not actually make the space more, will actually make it less, because that's how we like our technology around here. That's how we like it. That's right. So, to those of you who complained, I want to firstly say you're right. Secondly, I think that your best bet to go forward now, I think that you're going to start with the left one, and you're going to take that testicle and you're going to stick it in your cheek right here, okay? After my left testicle is good and square in your cheek, you're going to have plenty of room in your gobber mouth for my right one. And you can suck my balls because, as I said before, the 5-5 show is something that's kind of crucially a big deal for me. It's a lot energetically, luminarily, in the heavens wise. And there's a lot of potential for other things to occur. And just for now, I'm going to be needing to put a lot of my calories into the prep for that show. And one of the things that I'm prepping for that show is actually doing a lot of filming. More filming than I care to mention. In fact, just today, I've been setting up a shrine, a set in the basement. Some of you remember my basement. If not, I will take you down to the basement sometimes. You may remember the basement where I did all that digging, where I built that bathroom, and then the bathroom, so in case you don't know, my house is like half into the earth, and I have this lower downstairs is sort of like a half floor because the other half is technically the earth. If you can just sort of picture that, this is sort of nestled into the mountainside here. And downstairs there was a bathroom that was in horrible shape. When I bought the place, I knew it had to be gutted, and so I gutted it and I put in a new bathroom, and months later I noticed, oh my God. And luckily I didn't finish the bathroom. I'd only framed it, which is a lot of work, but still, I'd only framed it. I noticed, holy shit, there's too much water in the earth this close to the bathroom. And the old bathroom, the reason why all that stuff was bad was because it was too close. And I tried to excavate as much of the earth as I could, but without really getting into some like foundation issues with my house, I decided, you know what? I'm going to cut my losses. I'm going to build a half bath. I'm going to take out the shower portion, and I'm just going to make this a little closet vanity place, right? A place where one can be with themselves in a porcelain vessel that holds things such as some of you might partake in for some therapeutic purposes, such as urine or other sort of fascistical things that might need to exodus. And next to that basin would be another basin, which for some weird reason we in this world believe, hey, the place to wash your hands is in the same place where you go to the bathroom. That's just always been weird to me, but I'm getting way off track. Way off track. But So today I've been in my basement. I'm remembering. I know I haven't lost this train of thought. There's just many sidecars, friends. And some of you like to think that, there's can be only one caboose. That's not true. Did you know that when cabooses are made at the caboose factory, there is a train of nothing but fucking cabooses, and the cabooses are delivered one by one, right? And each of the cabooses technically is a virgin caboose, because the actual caboose on the train of cabooses that come out of the caboose factory is a standard veteran caboose. That caboose has been around. That caboose considers all of those virgin cabooses his progeny, right? And so because the cabooses have not actually been a caboose yet, they are caboosical trainees. They are in training, right? They've gone to caboosical finishing school. And this train drops off the cabooses without them actually serving as a caboose. That honor is left to the train yard that purchased the caboose. It is them that they install and instigate the ceremony, the opening of the caboose. It's an important ceremony in a caboose's life. It's an important part of anyone's journey. Some of you might be wondering, has the content on this show gone downhill? Is this the same quality that has always been delivered, or has my appetite simply grown more sophisticated? These are questions that, frankly, you and I are not going to really come up with an agreement on. We're going to wander in and out of hypothetical reality, aren't we? We're going to have all these, figuratively. It's figuratively. We're going to have all these things happening. Right? We're going to switch back and forth between orthogonal reality. That's what we're going to do. Let me show you what I mean. This just happens to be something I'm working on. I don't know if you're going to enjoy this or not. But this shouldn't crash anything. Famous last words. All right, so most of us will see reality like this, where we can change our perspective on things. Here, I'll just show you. So like we can look at life from over here, and then we can go over here, and then we can go over here. And we can take part of that life, right? And we can tap into it, break it down into its basic integral part, its blocking, so to speak, right? And we can freeze that part and actually separate it from the rest of the system, right? So we can pretend that this is our entire reality, that this chunk of nostril right here is the entire system. And you can live your entire life on the shores of this place. It's actually more vast than you think. There's a lot of places to get lost in here. Right? But this is perspective reality, what you're looking at right now. Assuming you're looking at my screen, yeah. This is perspective reality right here. But there's something else. I can hit 7 and zoom out. And you're no longer looking at perspective reality. What you were looking at is orthographic reality. This is hypothetical reality, is what I like to call it. I call it hypothetical reality because it doesn't exist. This does not exist. There's no way to zoom out in such a way that this screen is showing you. This screen is removing perspective from the picture. And watch what happens if I just tilt the mouse, boom, just ever so slightly. I swear the position is not changed. I am still above this chunk of Olmec nostril, right? The giant Olmeci booger. But this nostril is back in perspective reality. And as I spin it around, you were seeing its different perspective. But if I go back to 7, which is top, it's going to spin like this. I'm going to put it in close to top position as I can. This is as close to the perspective of what I'm about to show you as we can. And you notice when I pan over to the right and when I pan over to the left, different parts of this reality are shown and hidden because that is realistically the only way they can be beheld. Unless I change into orthographic, I just did it, orthographic reality. And all that's happened is we've stretched perspective into infinity. That's really all this means. And your aperture, that same word aperture, has the exact same effect. This is not the only orthographic reality. I can hit 1. And I'm not in perspective reality. I am looking at it from what's called front. You and I call this front view. And watch what happens. If I just slightly click my mouse, it's going to jump out of orthographic. It's going to jump into perspective, but I'm going to be in the same place. Boom. But now the world's different. This is the world now. And it's complicated, complex. It's real. It's fathomable. And it's hidden. Unless you go back into book, orthographic reality. This is objective reality. You and I call this objective reality. Orthographic. And that's front. Now I hit 3. Now we're looking at it from the right. This is the back. And it's orthographic. If I hit Command, I think either Command 3, this is either going to crash or this is going to do it. Okay, good. Or if I hit Command 3, then it's left. I'm looking at it from the left now. But it's not real. Watch, I'll click the mouse. There's the left. There's the left in real life. This whole valley appears. But if I go back into orthographic left, that valley's gone. Look how neat and tidy everything is. Most of your world before Aquarius was pretending to be this. When you used to think that there was like a deep state, when you used to think that countries were real, this is what reality was like. And all these different perspectives you were swearing were true because they were comfortable. Look at how this fits into the box from the top. It fits perfectly into a box. Orthographic does. Look at it from the front. Fits perfectly in a box. Look at it from the right, perfectly in a box. From the left, perfectly in a box. From the back, perfectly in a box, which is perfect. But when you get into the real picture of it, there's no box. You can never, there's not one position, except for, okay, you got me underneath. But there's no other way to get this shape. Actually, I don't think you could even do it from underneath because you're still going to see the sides. But you cannot get it back into that box. And that's what people were insisting was objective reality. And this objective reality is really the training wheels. It's the training wheels. And it's why you can't really get mad at Republicans and Democrats. You can't really say it's wrongthink. It's important think. It's groupthink, and we want groupthink. I swear we want groupthink. You're putting too much pressure on people to insist that we should not have groupthink. You're insisting that everyone should think for themselves. You're telling a renter that unless they own a home, they should be homeless. Yep. And you have to understand that the system works this way because people need the system to work this way. The other day I said, well, no one's in charge because there's these hyenas that just constantly love that there's someone in charge. And they think it's closed-minded to consider that you couldn't think that no one could be in charge. But I'm trying to tell you that that's how diverse the fractal of Earth is. Do you know why no one can be in charge? Most of the world is insects. Most of the consciousness that pervades and invades and occupies this world is living in the insect world. And you can't say that. If you want to try and pull a Catholic bullshit and say that, well, their only soul that really counts is like a human because dogs are robots or whatever the fuck, you're not going to win, because when you look at the hive structure of a lot of insects, you're seeing a mind that is far superior when it comes to geographical distance, reach, touch, and ability to destroy than mankind himself. If man rates himself over which will outkill the other, insects win. Insects are superior in many ways. And you want to have this notion of a hidden hand that controls everything, literally everything. And you want to have that because that would feel really good to know, even if you didn't like it. And you'd have to say that it was controlled, but you didn't like it. The only way that you could explain why the world is the way it is. But you still get to keep control. Because you want control first. That's the first thing. You want control so bad, you literally will dismiss instruments that you have no control over, that you think you have no control over, such as emotion. And that most of us are wandering around going, oh my God, what's wrong? What's wrong, Sarah? Oh, I have this emotion I've got to fix. Oh my God, you got to get rid of that. I know. Help me stab it out. Help me. Help me. You should go to the gym. Okay. Oh, Sarah, that was a great workout. Hey, is that emotion gone? Yeah, it's gone. For a little bit, right? And that's us. That's us learning to crawl. And I really been struggling lately with I just don't have enough time. I'm just so damn passionate about so many things. And I don't know how to fit them all in. And I love spending 3 days researching a live stream that I know that only maybe 3,000 people are going to watch. And then because of the live stream, it's going to instantly just disappear. People are just going to assume, oh, well, James recorded that live stream 3 months ago, so it's clearly not adequate anymore. It's actually why they're called live streams. They're pushing the idea, the gesture itself is pushing the fruit. It's do you realize that but it's so much easier if they just would have kept making the same shirts that sold out, all the colors, that they just kept those colors, problem solved. But when you actually look at what moves fashion, what moves shoes, for example, a reason why shoes move is because they're purposely removed from the shelves. The reason why they are sold is because they're taken away. It's cruel. It's inhumane. It's sicko. It's disgusting behavior. And every industry has to do it. Right now, most of the tech industry is they're just spooging everywhere over the fact that, well, okay, this one has a removable battery, so I'm taking you off the list. But the devices that have a battery that's glued in is such a beautiful out. The upgrading of software is such a beautiful out, right? Anything that it could be upgraded can be, ownership can be taken away. And we're starting to understand the truth of what consciousness is, really. It's bigger than what we think it is. And if it's bigger than what we're comfortable with, we will literally just say, well, the other parts don't exist. And after a while, they don't. I think the only way that we could process when man developed the electron microscope, when man developed the microscope, he developed the ability to reach into a dimension that he's never seen before. And I'd like for you to start to picture the idea that Zoom is a dimension. And the better word would be scale. And so let's call it scale. But I need you to understand that scale is a dimension now. And the only way you're going to be able to understand that is to come back to this orthographic versus perspective reality. Because the only way to truly grip an object is to orthographically create a matrix in your mind for it. If you can hone the shape, the exact shape in your mind, you can put it in your library and you can associate all of your plasma molecules in the right corners of it. This is what happens when, like Shaun White, for example, would put on a snowboard. The guy is really gifted. Like, he's really, really graceful. And if you understand that the snowboard has two rounded shapes on the front and the end with a lip, that every piece of that fiberglass, every lignin in the glue, every piece of enamel is amalgamated with him, his essence. He's associated into it. And the activity and the furniture itself, right, imbues and holds consciousness. And when you understand that, I want you to take that feeling. I want you to take that feeling that, you know, when your arm's asleep and it's tingling. That moment when your arm is tingling, you don't actually feel your arm, do you? You're feeling millions of electrical impulses coming online. That's what you're feeling. And you've completely disassociated from your arm because all of the red blood cells that are imbuing the daemon of you, keep in mind the red blood cells come into your heart charges them, it imbues them with your will. It puts those red blood cells into your arm, and when they get to your arm, you sit on it, and those red blood cells are trapped. They still have the I am, they still have the goals, they still have the will of you moments before the network was shut down. Those red blood cells have disassociated. And all the blood in your arm is not your blood anymore because you're not associated with it. And I would like for you to imagine that your body is as nebulous as your lifeline. That you and I cannot live like a skipped rock where we live for a few moments and then we die. And then we live, then we die, then we live, then we die, then we live, die, live, die, live, die, live, die. That all we do is live as long as we can until that connection is cut. It's like a telephone connection. This word is called asynchronous. And that tingling that you feel is the awakening of consciousness inside your arm. That's really what's happening. And I want you to consider that tingling is really the hive of bees. It's the swarm of ants. It's the colony of ants. Each of those ants, you and I, in orthographic reality, would understand as a separate entity, but they're not. They're drones, nodes, responding to the same Ferno network. Their IP address is based on smell, which means it's based on vibration. And that vibration is so small that you and I lack the fidelity to fully render it accurately. which is why we see them as ants. We see them as ants because we lack the fidelity filters to render the color of that smell at such a small scale. Do you understand? Scale. And that we're using the instruments of technology to zoom in, which means that we're using the instruments of technology to poke our fingers through the veil into another dimension. And that dimension is scale. And that you zoom in and you zoom out. And wherever you zoom, whatever your scale is, the world renders itself to that scale based on your aperture, which means that reality is amalgamated based purely on scale. And when you look at the fractal, what you're really seeing is that scale expressing itself. So, scale is a dimension. And here's what I think is pretty amazing about that, because I think that the scale is tileable. This is hard to visualize, but I'm going to give you an aid. It's not exactly the same, but it's the closest I can come. When you fire up a video game, let's call it World of Warcraft. I've never actually played that game, but I know it's a game. You land on tile 00 in a game somewhere in a database. And from tile 00, your video card is going to render tiles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that those 8 tiles correspond to the 8 grids or directions that surround you, like a chessboard. You can move diagonally or across. And you are assigned the units of a pawn, which means that the program knows that you can only move one space at a time. And during an en passé, you could use a diagonal move, so therefore every tile that is at least one move away must be rendered tout de suite right now in your face, and every other tile can be ignored. And that scale, this dimension that I'm telling you, this real life dimension that you and I have never considered as a dimension before, is tiled. And the reason why this is so crucial that you understand it's tiled is because you're only going to see the zoom, the scale that's adjacent to the scale that you're in. And that's the electron microscope. That when we are peering into the next dimension, above or below, we're pushing the limits of our technology to see that. Just as the pawn might develop the en passé and be able to move diagonally, so too must the game accommodate for every single possibility that pawn could see. Which means that you and I can only fathom scales that are within our range. And this is what's so profound. Because when you zoom in and you see how intricate the bee's knees are, or the mandibles of an ant, when you study the intricate crystal structures, or look inside a cell, or watch a macrophage, you freak the fuck out on a apoptosis. Or when you look up into the heavens and you look at Orion right at the tip, and you see the red nebulous bleeding in space, that you're seeing the cusp, the edge, the perimeter of tile 2. That's it. And that tile 10 or 11 or 12 is only going to be fathomable to you once you're at the scale that you are currently reaching for now, So you're going to have to be as big as the pillars of Orion or as tiny as the mandible of an ant. And only then could you start to fathom what the next scale of the fractal looks like. And I have a theory. I cannot prove this. But I have a theory, my friends, because when you play World of Warcraft, one of the beautiful things that the game does, all games do this, is it gives you the luxury of infinity. And that the luxury of infinity is only possible through tiles that disappear. So what I'm trying to say is that you and I have an orthographic opinion of a place called planet Earth. And the beautiful thing about this orthographic opinion that we call planet Earth is that if you and I start at tile 00 and turn right and keep going right, we will end back up at tile 00. And that is a beautiful way of finishing something, much like a tiler who you're hiring to come in to redo the tile of your bathroom and the grout will know, because he's good at what he does, that if I move these tiles a half an inch to the left, I will not have to cut all of these tiles over here, and this wall will look seamless, which is the show wall, because it's the wall that you first walk in. And that kind of attention to detail is what anyone with love who's creating an atmosphere would provide. And I'm telling you that this world of scale starts and ends at 00. The largest things that you can imagine in the world, you're holding in your hand. They're the tiniest things you've ever seen. And even those, you have only seen them because you've pointed an electron at a certain vector and shot it with such a force that you can only see one little blip of action. You never can actually capture the thing alive. Isn't it profound that we cannot actually capture life in an electron microscope? It's literally impossible. The intricacy of the scale, the piercing of the veil, would require you and I to change to receive it. And that famous painting of the man poking through the veil, that famous one, that's you and I using technology to see through the veil of scale and to find this other place. I believe that empathy, this might sound, I don't care how it sounds. I believe that simulation and empathy are the way that we will grow out and past this veil. I believe that we will become so deeply compassionate on such a profound level one day that we will be able to physically simulate what the world must be like outside of this veil, and to have it be so compassionately accurate because of how good and gifted we are at compassionating what life would be outside the veil, that you and I would physically leave this place. And I'm suggesting to you that the instrument, like the nose, like the ears, like the eyes, the instrument that you will use to pierce the veil is compassion. And we will understand what's outside of this egg by looking at how much was put into this egg for you to be here. And that once your compassion has fermented long enough in the stew of this vitriol, and as more people stop calling Satan the enemy, as Shaitan becomes senpai, as Christ becomes Lucifer, as Satan becomes carbon atom, as all of these things become more tepid and reasonable for us to accept, so too does our compassion grow. So too does our so too does our technology grow, which is allowing us to pierce the veil. One of the beautiful things that occurs with all of our advancement is our compassion grows, even when it's denial. Because the more in denial we show ourselves, the more compassion we are forced to require from each other. We see that potential, right? It's so killer we have no choice. It's a precious instrument we are developing. Well, if not, I don't want to take your Satan away. If you need that, who am I to say you shouldn't have that, man? Keep your Satan. That's why it's okay to call me satanic or whatever. It's okay. It's okay. I don't mind being the satanic one in your life. If you need someone in your life to be, oh God, that guy's so satanic, that's fine, you know. Some people need a bisexual homesteader, you know, in their life to tell them, you know, that it's okay to have gay thoughts. You just can't say them out loud, so you have to make fun of gay people, right? Some people need that in their life. Some people need a Luciferian that's always talking about piercing the veil with compassion, you know. I admit that the pollen that I offer is not for everyone, right? And who am I to say that my pollen is even the right one, you know? Yeah, it's bitter. It's pollen. It's pollen. I'm not giving honey out over here. Are you kidding? I've tried honey factories. Fuck that shit. Those guys never shut up. Do you realize how much noise is coming from a beehive? Oh my God. You cannot think it at all. And there's one chick in the whole place. One chick. Do you know what that does to your confidence? She's like, oh, I want to go ask the queen. Oh, she's so hot. She's going to notice me. She's going to be like, you there? And like 10,000 drones are going to turn around. Yes. No. I mean, you there with the wings. And 10,000 bees are going to go, actually 9,999 because one of them only has one wing. And he's going to be like, fuck, I knew she wasn't talking to me. That's the whole organism. That's the whole thing. All of the bees are the same organism. And just like you feel that little tingling in your skin, so too is your pancreas discovering, hey, I am more than my pancreas. My pancreas, the land of Pancrea has discovered new life. Excuse me. We have space exploration because we need an orthographic decision. We need furniture to act out the seeking of new life. To boldly go where no man has gone before. Our cosmology is the fingers that we're using to scratch the surface of the firmament. I think that's really at the heart of it. All right, so complaints. Yeah, show sucks, James. Get your shit together. There's my answer to that is I can't. Too many things are happening. I don't think that the state I'm in right now is forever. I do know that I am completely dependent on you are. Let me rephrase that. You are completely dependent on patrons. If you want to hold anyone responsible for the drivel that I produce on this show, you're going to have to blame the patrons. I think that the best way to blame them is to infiltrate them. I think you should become a patron and infiltrate the ranks of these fucktards who sponsor me. The only way you're going to get this to stop is you're going to have to stop the patrons. YouTube has already stopped. Okay? If you really want to root this out, you're going to have to look to them. And they're a wily bunch. That's why I think the only way you're going to do it is infiltrate them. You're going to have to infiltrate them. You have to join Patreon. You're going to have to act like you're one of them. But I'm going to give you a secret. I'm going to give you a secret. You are not alone. This urge you have to end me doing this show, you know what you have to do. But you're not alone. Don't you realize that you having this plan to infiltrate Patreon, to bring down my ranks, you have to know that there's going to be someone there that's already just like you. That right now, when I roll the rolling credits, those names, and you're going to write them down, every one of them, that some of them are your brethren. They are your rebel in arms. They are living in disguise on the Death Star right now, waiting for someone like you to infiltrate and put an end to this madness. I know. You think it's hard listening to me? Imagine how hard it is to, tell people that I'm the one that produces this show, right? You think it's bad? Talking about no pants and shit like that? I'm me. I'm literally living here. Yeah, I'm the dude that doesn't have the hair. Me. It's me. So I feel your pain. All right, so do what you got to do, guys, Do what you got to do. We have an airship tonight. You can infiltrate on the airship, too. You could drop some bombs. You wouldn't be the first. But I warn you. Airship's not the place to be elementary. You have to bring some A game, is what I'm trying to say. So, there you go. But yeah, airship is it's 97. And you guys are welcome to come check it out. Do you have your 5-5 ticket? I am performing live in Rhode Island. Me and a band of merry pranksters calling ourselves the Vitriol Orchestra are performing. And you can buy a ticket to that and come see me in Rhode Island. It'd be great. I'm filming the entire process of the making of all the things and doings of 5-5, and I'm looking forward to releasing those videos soon. There's only been 2 that have come out. There's actually a lot more here on the editing floor, but wow, it takes so much time to edit this stuff. It's been part of why where all my calories have been going, which I personally think is a good move, but that will not be seen until you see it. But for those of you who really love the research live streams, I love them too, and they'll definitely be back. I just could, just what I'm doing right now, and I need it, and it's just till 5-5. So, and it's not even till 5-5. I think actually, after I have some processes down, right now I'm learning a lot of processes that just require a lot of time, and once those are done, I think a lot of it can just be happening in the background, and we can get back to doing that. So, but do what you want to do, infiltrate, find dissidents, sleeper cells among the ranks, infiltrate, find your way in, and you can take me down. You can do it. I think you should probably stay on Patreon for a few months before you make your move, though. I just think the camouflage is just so much better that way. That's just my suggestion. So, anyway. Let's close it for now. Thank you guys for being here. If you would prefer, like the one gentleman said, if you prefer that I just not do shows at all, until I have a more researched thing, please leave that in the comments. Remember, if you go back, someone will timestamp, but I gave you a suggestion on exactly how to figuratively suck my balls. And but I do, if that is what you want, I want to hear it in the comments too. So yeah, I can't stress this enough. As long as there are patrons, definitely going to keep doing this. They really are completely to blame for all of this. And I think it's kind of absurd that you'd be mad at me over them. I just do. I think it's kind of absurd that you're like, yeah, let's be mad at James, not the people that are actually making all this happen. Because why would we bother them, even though they are the ones pushing James and keeping him alive? James Tro was filmed before a live studio audience. And we're going to do more complaints next time. So save your complaint until then. I'm sorry there were not more complaints. Goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful day.